Well, continuing dual realm leadership. And this really is episode one. The last one was just an introduction. And I want to start off here with the resources that are available to you as the everyday priest. You see, once we realize that we've erased the secular sacred divide and that we're all in ministry, what we all step into then is the awareness that we are all priests. I'll often stand in front of a group of people and say, the world is being filled with the knowledge of the glory of, and you could put the names in, but the people like, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, etc., etc. And by and large, the truth of those people is that they did not know God. And here's the incredible thing. You and I have four times what they have available to them. And yet, look at what's happened. And I want to suggest to you that that is because no one told them, pun intended, that they couldn't fly. Whereas many of us have been raised in the church world, perhaps a more religious church world even, and there have been restrictions placed on our thinking about what we can do with our lives and what is legitimate. And we've ended up with that thought that somehow career ministry, as I prefer to call it, is more significant, more valuable than working out there in the marketplace. And once we erase that, once we shift that, we can start to see that we have access to so much more. You see, if you take somebody like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, they're made in the image of God. And that's the truth. They're made in the image of God, and they've taken their being made in the image of God ability, and they've used it. And they've been in the right place at the right time, and they've built the right thing, and they've had incredible influence. One of the things that I think that we're suffering from in our world today is influence without accountability. I've just finished my book on encounters, and Paul talked about Corinth, and Corinth actually was a city that had a hierarchy, an aristocracy of money. And in many respects, we're seeing that again in our world. We've got an aristocracy of money, power, influence, but influence without accountability. And here's the thing, you and I have access to four times what those people had. And I believe what's happening is we are breaking the constraints of religious thinking, religious mindsets, and we are saying, no, we're all in ministry, every one of us, we're all sent. And the truth is that all of us, our hearts are that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God, and that we will use our made in the image of God ability and more to do that. And so I just want to kind of take you on a very short journey. I'm trying to keep these videos, and I'm going to be building a library of dual realm leadership videos on my YouTube channel. It'll be there as a library which I'm going to build, and then I'm going to be releasing some other things. I'm going to invite those of you who want to join me at what I'm going to call the executive BLT, the executive business and leadership table. Yeah, the BLT, because loads of us have had meetings around a table where we've eaten the BLT, but under the heading of dual realm leadership. So I'm keeping them brief, but let's start. Well, of course, the first place to start is that we are made in the image of God. We were created by the Creator to be creative and to use our creativity to point mankind back to the Creator. And there in the beginning, we were given the assignment of governing, of tending, of subduing this earth. And we are made in his image. And you can see there in the top left-hand corner that we build, we care, we govern, we conquer, and we pursue excellence. And really, in many respects, that category there, I just put in as work, made in the image of God. So we've all got that. And we'll probably go more into that as time goes by. But then we've got something else. We have the mind of Christ. This is extraordinary. And I put that under the category there of thinking. Of solving, of inventing, from operating from heaven's vantage point. And it's an extraordinary thing that we get to do that. We get to think with the mind of Christ. And of course, we can expand that more. And all these four overlap. There's incredible overlapping. But then not only do we have that, but we are filled with the Holy Spirit, which gives us access to power, accessing the supernatural power and prophetic insight. And extraordinary there that, and one of the things I'll say about the gift of government, the gift of administration, which the truth is every organizational leader, every executive, every entrepreneur will need the gift of administration. It may not be the day-to-day, the typing, the filing, the errand running, the event planning, that end of administration, which is super, super valuable. But it may be that other element of administration where we are leading and we are guiding and we are building strategy. And so that is really important for us to understand that we have access to the power of God. And as I've often said, if the administrator who doesn't understand the power of God will reduce a move of God to what man can do without God. And here we have access to the power. And then finally, we have Christ in us, the hope of glory, which I put under the category of planning, because we're planning with hope in mind. And strategic planning, strategic thinking always needs to be strategizing, planning, dreaming with hope in mind, with prophetic destiny, with prophetic future in mind. I remember the very first strategic planning workshops that I led in a prison environment. And I said, I want one of our values to be hope. And boy, I could not get that through. I couldn't get it there. And it was really difficult for me. But for me, I never wanted to run or lead a prison which didn't have a value for hope. And of course, the world's hope tends to be more in the realm of chance. And our hope is a certain hope that we read of in Hebrews. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. And so the everyday priest, and you are an everyday priest, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you go, and wherever you're working, whatever you do, I want to just encourage you today that you have access. You're made in the image of God. This is an incredible truth. And we're made in the image of Creator, and not just what He can do, but who He is, His character, His nature, and extraordinary. And we have access, therefore, to the wisdom that was put in man at creation. But we also have the mind of Christ. We can think like Him, which means that we have access to thinking, to solving, to inventing. We have His mind corporately, and we have access to the power of God through being filled with the Holy Spirit, which gives us access to so much more, not just speaking in tongues, interpreting tongues, the gift of healing, of miracles, of discernment, of truth, of boldness, of wisdom. We are filled with the Holy Spirit. And not only that, but we have Christ in us, the hope of glory, which means that our planning is infused with hope, and our planning contains, as it were, wraps up this expectation of going from glory to glory. I'll often pray over people for places of increase, glory to glory, greater revelation, greater works, and the increase of His government. That comes from having Christ in us, the hope of glory. And so in this first episode, as it were, these short talks on dual realm leadership, I want to encourage you that these are the resources for the everyday priest. Look at what man has done without God. Once there was nothing on this planet made by man, and what man has done is absolutely stunning and extraordinary. But imagine what man can do with God and being freed up, breaking the shackles of religion, being fully commissioned, knowing in the core of our being that we are sent, whoever we are, whatever we do, wherever we go. And a lot of what I teach on the gift of administration, the gift of government, the character of a leader, strategic planning, these areas, they are really infused with all of these elements. And we are, as it were, leading on earth with the resources and the access to heaven. So I just want to encourage you today in dual realm leadership, we have access to all of these resources, and I'll be just exploring them a little bit here, but I'll also, as I said, in the future be opening up, inviting you to join me at the table, as it were, the Zoom table, and there we'll be able to unpack these a little bit more, maybe kind of take some examples, take some situations. So keep in touch with me, but keep watching these. As I say, I'll be building the YouTube library of dual realm leadership. Thanks for joining me.